And my name is Marcos. I came in through what we would call the big transition, the big ice melt. When you went from their time to this new time, and that was about mid-2000s. I've been with Teachin since about 2000. Started at the old gym. Wasted my time for about 4 years. Well, not wasted my time, had a bunch of kids and did some businesses, but in Muay Thai time, wasted my time and picked up when I was in my 30s. And if you've been with this gym for a long enough time, you'll see that there's groups that come and go. Teachin is not about building fighters, he's about building students and building technique. And if the fighting happens, the fighting happens. I could take an hour explaining all the little catchphrases and all of the little things that the last 100 episodes has shown. And we're gonna take 200 more episodes to say them all over again because not everybody's listening.
Yeah.
And it takes that many times. I told Teachin a long time ago, I'm like, man, you're a professional reminderer. You know, that's kind of what he becomes. And so I was very fortunate to catch the tail end of the old school fighters at this gym, and it's been amazing. All I can say is just listen to him moving forward in a different way than you ever have. You're not going to understand the method of the madness until these techniques start talking to you, and it's only going to happen with tens of thousands of times. And you know, we pride ourselves in not being that fluffy gym, man. It's gonna stink in here. You're gonna hear cuss words, and it's a lot nicer than it used to be. And you guys think it's so funny because you guys actually got it easy, even though you think you don't. Like, he cared less, if that's possibly believed, you know. But that's why we built champions like, you know, like Fabian and Cowboy and so many other you know, amazing fighters that have came out of this gym. We're that little gym from Oceanside, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. I apply everything that I've ever learned in life every day to this because everything is Muay Thai all the time. If you break down it to its, you know, most smallest facet, it is that. And thank you, Teachin. Here's 100 more episodes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Jonathan Lloyd. 49 years old. I'm seriously new here. This is my second week. 2017, I had a motorcycle accident, and I was a paraplegic. And before then, I was just a poor leader. I come from a long line of military. My dad and 7 of his 11 brothers are all military. Everybody served in the Korean War. 6 of my cousins, 2 of them, their first deployment was Fallujah. Those that have been in the service, I thank you guys, and you know what that means. Just not being a good leader. Had good kids, good wife. She put up with my shit for 31 years. It's November 16th. And 2017 was my rebirth. I rehabilitated. The daughter actually took me around to little boot camps, and she hates it because I used to call them booty camp. Everybody showed up, shake the booty. But then she started taking me to little boutique boxing gyms, and I fell in love with the repetition. I fell in love with consistency, and I fell in love with the therapy that I perceived just generally kickboxing had. I bounced around a few gyms, and being my 3rd week here, the minute I walked in 3 weeks ago, you could feel the energy. You could feel the spirit. It's raw.
Yeah.
It goes back to the epitome of us as humans. Don't be an a-hole. Treat everybody right, but don't fake it. This is real.
Yeah.
And it got me in touch with the full potential that every single one of us has, because we're all damaged goods. We all got PTSD, trauma, but if you get back to the basics of humanity, you get in touch with who you really can be as a human being. And this right here is real. Is real. So John, I thank you for allowing me to be here, and I thank you for allowing me to be part of who I really am.
Fuck yeah. My pleasure. Hell yeah.
My name is Jeffrey Tuesday. I first started here around May. I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps. And I remember I called Ajan on the phone. And I was at a really low point in my life, like really emasculated. Was only thinking about suicide. Like probably that night I probably would have did it. And I remember he said, you know, you sound like somebody that's willing to do the work, somebody that's coachable. Come in, try it out, see if you like it. And the one thing that stuck out to me was, it was no like dog and pony. It was like, hey, look, it's real simple. I tell you what to do, and you train it. You just train it and train it and train it until it becomes part of you. And I just really like that he never had pity for you. It was always a mental game, like how strong are you? So when you get knocked down, there was never any, hey, are you okay? It was just like, hey, that's good training. What are you gonna do? You gonna come back or you gonna leave? And for me, I kind of felt, this place pushes me. And everything I've done that was worth salt in my life has always been challenging for me. And I just realized when you start seeing people leave, that's when you start realizing, if I can make it over this mountain, this is something that I have that nobody can just attain. And I just fell in love with that. The vibe, like, you have people that are just trying to make you better. And nobody in here is acting like, you know, from some of the most elite fighters that come to the gym, they're not acting like they're better than you. Everybody wants to train you. Everybody wants to teach you. It's just, are you going to put in the work? And I just really like that aspect of the gym.
I'm looking out here and I'm seeing people that I haven't seen for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, what I find amazing is that a lot of the people in here, including Hobby back there at the time, were little kids.
Yep.
And now they have children of their own. You wouldn't have gotten to that point unless you've trained your mind.
That's right.
More so than you're punching and you're kicking. Now, I'll tell you one real quick story about Pinky that was just talking. Pinky was the first person I sparred. And I came in, and before that I was doing Shotokan and some other stuff, you know. And so I'm moving around the ring, and he said, I want you to spar her. And Pinky's just like, and she's in there. And she's tagging me. And I'm moving around. And then John, we had these little seats around the ring. And John was just sitting there like this. When he sits like this, that's disapproval. Okay. When his hand covers his mouth, that's disapproval. So I'm moving around, and I stopped, and I said, you don't like any of this, do you? He looks at me and says, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead. So Pinky was the first one. Tanya, that was just talking. Interesting lady. She's the only person that says, don't bring me flowers, bring me nice weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now little sis over there was so young, and she has kids of her own now. She was so young, we had to bus her up to the fights up in Vietnam. And the first time she didn't have a ride, so we brought her up there. I come back, drop her off, make sure she goes into the apartment. She sneaks out when I'm gone. and her mom's looking for her like the next day. Or something.
Uh-oh.
And I turned to John, I will never do that. And now she has kids of her own. And Matt came in, kids of his own. It's just amazing to watch everybody go through.
Yeah.
It's been over 20 years, but it wouldn't happen unless he was training mom.
Gosh, I was in middle school transitioning to high school when I first started, because I didn't really know who I was, what I wanted to do, and Ajan, I called him. He's like, yeah, come in. We don't really care if you're a girl, whatever, just come and train. I did boxing like the whole day. And I was like super quiet. I'm like, I didn't want to do this. So he's like, oh hell, okay, cool. What do you want to do? You want to do Muay Thai? Ah, okay. I was like, nah, I just wasted this whole damn day. I just spoke up. But anyways, I got the name Lil Sis because everybody trained me. I was in your face. I was asking questions. You want to teach me something? I don't care. If someone was sparring, I was right next door. I was watching.
Yep.
We used to watch Muay Thai fights. That was our visual learning. So even if you're not breaking a sweat, you're still learning something.
I hope y'all listening.
So even when I kicked Big Bertha, hurt my foot, was on crutches, I still was in the gym. I don't give a shit. I'm still coming. I'm still gonna learn something. I don't care. So that's when, John has his token little just words of wisdom. Javi kicked me in the face and split underneath my eye. And he's like, I thought you were gonna block. I'm like, you threw it because you thought I was gonna block? Like, what sense does that make? And then here goes John. You zig when you should have zagged. Okay, cool. Got it. Or, you're not going to tell John you're frustrated because he doesn't give a shit if you're frustrated or not. So he was like, yeah, good training. I was like, everything's good training. If I stub my toes, good training. If I break my arms, good training. If I go outside right now and get hit by a bus, that's good training. You're like, yeah. It was always one step ahead. When it came to fighting, I didn't ask to fight. You were like, what do you think about, just fight it? It's just touch. It's not big. I'm like, oh, okay. I can do that, sure. So, you gotta go through the gauntlet or whatever, but you'll be fine. All right, cool. So, side note, the reason why the people in here that did so well and they're not assholes to everybody, because you know what it's like to be frustrated and crying or know that you should have did something better or whatever, and everyone's been there.
That's right.
So, it's not like I'm better than you, I don't want to teach you anything, because we've all had those days. I have several days when I sparred with you and I'm frustrated and I'm crying, but I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to sit here and continue to get through this, and I'm going to go home and cry in the shower. It is what it is. But it's just, no, I didn't think that I could just fight or whatever. You were like, what do you think? And I was like, all right, cool. And I'm a quiet person outside. I didn't speak up for myself. I didn't cause no problem. But in the ring, it's like I see red and I can't think straight. So it's like, I want to see blood. I want her nose to bleed a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then that's all I could think of until the round was over. But that wasn't me. That was you. You were just like, hey, what do you think? And I was like, sure, why not? Oh, no. I'll try it. And when we fought in Vegas and this chick kneed me, and I was like, oh, I'm going to throw her across the ring. And when I looked, I didn't even know if that's something you could even do because I was so pissed off. And I didn't want to lose, and everybody's like, it's not about losing. And we were behind, about to go inside the ring, and you were like, just yell. And I was like, that's stupid. You're like, just yell. And I was like, I don't want to yell because I want everybody to look at me. And I yelled, and everybody was like, I was like, it's so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing, but it was nerves because I didn't want to let anybody down. I didn't want to embarrass us, pretty much. But you already knew that I had it.
Right.
I just needed to believe that I could go out there and do what we had to do. But after I tossed her, I looked at you like, and you were like, I was like, as long as I didn't get in trouble, cool. I didn't know I could throw people in the ring, but no. The confidence I have and the love that I have for Muay Thai is just, I just feel like you just breathe that into everybody.
That's right.
But yeah.
I got two small stories, and it's bringing these in. I remember we were doing smokers in weird places. I'm not going to go into like parking lots, basement of churches, some really, really interesting places. But I remember this one smoker we went to, and Pinky and I and Jenny was there, and we were just play sparring in the back, and these chicks were kickboxing, and they were like, and we were just pop, 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 pop. And that was just us sparring, just drill sparring. They're like, are you gonna hit us that hard in the ring? Do you remember? And you told us like, so, Ajan, but at the time it was Crew. You're like, okay, first round, no punches. Right. We're like, what?
I remember that shit.
Really?
Yep.
And then second round, punches, no kicks. Then he's like, then third round, you can do what you want. Then Jenny was playing around. She busted this chick's nose. The rest of them didn't want to fight us anymore. But it was just, I don't know. We just kind of had this spirit, and it was like a spirit of support. We worked hard, but we played hard too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't know. And then my second story is I went through the gauntlet. To me, that was crazy. That was nuts. But I kid you not, I never fought anybody else that hard.
That's right.
No. So any other fight I got into, I never got hurt like I did with the gauntlet because I hit the ground, I got kicked in the face, jumped up, it
Hard
was
as shit.
double. He's like, how many hands do you see? I'm like, 3. He's like, hit the one in the middle. Oh no, I was out of it, and I went home and I cried, and I gotta go do this thing for 3 days. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
It was harsh, but after then I was like, yeah, I'll go fight, whatever.
Yeah.
Because no girl did anything like the gauntlet.
That's right.
So I was like, okay, whatever. So like street fights or whatever, I'm like,
Whatever. Yeah.
no, wait. I actually was fighting with gear. So what is this?
Yeah.
And then, I'm a professional and all that, but I can rumble.
Well, I was going to, because I'm a tailor from you. So I think I started in '98. I was a junior in high school. I came in this gym. I was like, look, our school's cheap. They canceled the gymnastics team. I needed something to do. I'm gonna move out on my own when I graduate. I just need to learn how to protect myself. I only want to be here for self-defense. I had no interest in being a fighter or anything. And he's like, yeah, we could do that. We can do that. So put all the money I had to pay for my membership because I didn't have a credit card. Couldn't even do month to month. So brought it in here, and like to build up from as a high schooler coming in here. And I mean, I think he's like, what time do you get home from school from the bus? I'm like, like 1:45. Okay, walk on over to the gym. So it was training from 1:45 to 8:30 at night. And like, it was tailored down to this whole like, it was a small little family, but everybody was working out together. Like we said, it's kind of the same. There was no half-ass. It wasn't even allowed at that time, like period. You're doing this training, we're meeting people, no matter what was happening in personal lives, in those 1,000 push-ups, squats, you're maybe talking about this, that, the other. And then like our first smoker, I went up to go see it. It was like 4 months in. We go in there and I was supposed to go support someone in there. He goes, oh, some girl canceled. Why don't we just get you in there? And it's only like a 25-pound difference. We'll just get in there. They said she broke her leg and she's recovering, so I think you'll be all right. So I'm like, okay. I'll never forget it. I gotta put it up there. Get in there. Craziest crap ever. I couldn't even, it was like forward, backwards. I was still learning how to like pivot. But the point was that he's like, Pinky, he's like, no, these girls aren't gonna hit you as hard as a dude hits you. You'll be all right. Just get in there. That, like, oh man, it was a learning curve because first off, what I realized is that, like, I think they ended up calling it the second round because my nose was bleeding because Fabian busted me the night before and the Vaseline wasn't working. I refused to get out of the ring because I was like, you sexist guys, this man makes me get in here and do this crap and let me just lose with my dignity and get out of here. But then I found out that girl lied to us because us coming into the circuit, I'm not gonna lie, they were like this little Oceanside gym. There was a lot of racism. Yep. You know, we had a black coach. That's what they saw. Crew was there. They didn't acknowledge. And so that lying to us, we went in good faith to fight just to have a good time. And then come to find out that girl had been fighting for 4 years. She knew I was only 4 months in. That whole broken leg, because her family was sitting behind mine and my auntie was trying to stop it. Michelle's gonna get killed in there, you know? But when we found that out, it was just like, it gave us all this like, we're gonna go back and go whoop ass because I wanted to whoop that girl's ass just for purely lying. It wasn't out of, you know, and I actually, that's how he got me, suckered me into more fights because it took 5 different times before I got her. Like, oh, one more, just one more, you know? And I don't know how we always got off key into like, so my first Pro-Am fight, literally, they call us 2 days before the fight and they're like, oh, they're just allowing women to use knees now. You guys wanna do that?
Yep.
I mean, that was because they didn't allow it. It was still sexist. Sorry, they didn't allow it.
Right.
And we look at each other and we're like, he's like, it'll be good experience, you know?
Good training.
Good training.
Good training.
Yeah. Good training. But that philosophy and that in that how we would train and what we would do, and that build up. It's just, you know, like I said, I started in '98. I'm 40 now. What I learned here, it's just there's no going back from it. It left us with an etch of like who you became. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna do, career, any of that stuff. But the foundation here, and trust me, I had no issues living on my own, or if anyone started anything, I was completely confident I could take care of myself. But it was a family in here, so that tradition, and like I said, no one put anybody down. Everybody was good natured, and that fight spirit is just with all of us. So I think when you saw quite a bit of us out there, just those hugs and stuff, it was hugs of tear, because the blood and the sweat pools that we had to claim our own. Latanya are talking about it. You only wanted your own sweat space and no one else to go in your puddle. I mean, he had the puke trash cans because you can't go anywhere. He had the puke trash cans going. You had your puddle. And I mean, you just got to keep doing it.
Go through all the
You got to do it till you finished it. Yep. So it's a build up.
Two things